there was a charity.
Yeah.
Right?
We connected, and this is a shout out too to J. Michael Malone.
Hell yeah.
Because
Hobo Pie.
he's been running Hobo Pie, which is a pop-up comedy show.
Right.
And it's really got a lot of variety, and it's really kind of expansive.
Mm-hmm.
But that gives everybody kind of the tools to just organize a group of people for a comedy show.
Right.
And so I paired up with him, and then paired with this group in Everett that does the Everett Promise, which matches people who graduate with money for school.
Right.
And we had a crazy night. It was a very long night.
Yeah, it was a long night. A lot of comedians.
We didn't expect it, but we had to take a 45-minute break because they had to go get more beer from the grocery store to bring it back to the hall at the Osceola County Fairgrounds, by the way.
Yes.
Shout out.
We
again.
did. What?
Yeah.
Osceola County. You heard of it?
You heard of it?
Me neither.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We are back. We are not recording live. Well, I mean, we're recording and we're live what we're doing here. But anyways, we're coming at you from the Stooge. It's been a while. COVID got to us. Some of us, me, COVID got to me. I had the COVID and I didn't see anybody for like 3 weeks. It was really super, super cool to happen during the holidays. But that being said, we had to take a break from having any guests in the house, and as this is a guest-oriented podcast, we didn't have any episodes. Sorry about it. Shit happens, mostly COVID. But we are back here in the new year. Happy New Year to you, and thank you for continued listening. Yeah, I was going to say continued viewership. That's another one. But we appreciate you and your support. And here in January, we are starting the first of many Jokers of January, name pending. But we will be featuring mainly comedians this first month. I figured we all need a laugh at this time. It's great to start out the new year in joy. And so we have a lot of comedians coming to you these first 4 weeks of the year. And we'll just get started with the first Joker of January this year, 2021, Mr. Joe Elder. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Where's my round of applause, damn it? Oh, yeah. There we go.
The audience died of COVID.
Yes.
Caught it.
Not that we ever had a live studio audience, but if we did, they'd be mostly dead.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Joe, you are a comedian in Grand Rapids, from Grand Rapids or Everett. Well, your hometown is Everett, a small town that no one really knows about.
Kind of both.
Yeah.
A lot of ways, yeah. Yep.
How long have you been doing stand-up in the Grand Rapids area?
Well, I started in February of 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So back then I was a little fatter, thick rim glasses, and thought I was like the next Bill Maher. So that was really
nice. Real political.
Yeah, it was terrible. But that's when I started, and that's what I tried to do for a while. But yeah, I started in February of 2015, and had a couple breaks where just from work I was working second shift and that sort of stuff. But for the most part, been doing it at least once a month for 5 years, but got serious about it in the last 2, where I've been doing more like 10 to 15 shows a month. And yeah, trying to make this thing happen.
Hell yeah. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I forgot the pleasantries. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah.
How's your COVID been? The second wave, how you doing?
I'm alive, and I haven't had it yet. So
nice.
That's
nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I've made it, but it was I don't know, man. It was tough like everybody else. Had to learn how to get some hobbies.
Right.
Different hobbies.
Yeah.
That don't involve getting hammered with strangers on Wednesdays.
Exactly. Going out to public places and trying to entertain them for the most part, if they're watching it.
Yeah.
Half the time they're not.
Yeah, that actually depended on the time too
Yeah.
and the place. Yeah, there's some places where they don't even know you're doing stand up. You just kind of find out in the midst of playing pool.
And they're never happy about it.
No.
Never happy about being told to quiet down. There's a show going on.
Which also kind of pushes the idea to me of having random pop up stand up on the street, because it's
Right.
obvious that people, even when they're in a bar and you have them trapped, don't like it.
Yeah.
It would be even funnier to just catch people on crosswalks.
Dude, I
Force jaywalking.
so much I've wanted to. This is a weird sentence.
Be
already.
free, man.
As it's coming out, it's already odd. But so often, let's go with that one. Sounds better. I've wanted to go to like Rosa Parks Circle and just like with a small PA system and just start doing stand up. I think I need to call someone before. Now they have signs posted to reserve Rosa Park, but
Oh.
I don't know if I'd have to pay, and I won't.
You need a permit to do stand up there
You need a permit to use the space.
to use the space. We should probably challenge that. I wonder if that just involves how much electronics you use down there.
Yeah, I
'Cause
got.
if you went down there with just a megaphone, you could claim to just be any other psycho that's trying to say anything else you want in Rosa Parks Circle.
Or you could go just like 50 feet away and act like you're busking, or act like you 50 feet away and you're busking.
Yeah,
Because I see a saxophone player down in that area all the time.
perfect.
Pretty good. But we'll have them
Shout
on the
out! Shout out
podcast.
to the downtown sax player, man. We
Yeah.
see you.
Shout out to local artists and struggling. No, they're mostly struggling. Definitely. Artists busking on the streets right now. You're probably homeless because it's fucking cold.
Yeah, it's tough to
But-
busk right now, bro.
Yeah, tough to
Very
busk.
tough to busk.
That sounds like a great band name.
Yeah, or at least like
Album.
an album.
Yeah.
Tough to busk.
Tough to busk.
Yeah.
Any
I think that's a folky one, like a bluegrass band, something like, Busk a Nut. There, see,
Yes.
look at that, genius.
Tough to
Busk a
busk
Nut, tough to busk.
with their Tough to Busk with their hit single Busk a Nut. Beautiful.
I love it.
How have you been? It's a struggle for a lot of people. We started out the quarantines like very ambitious with creativity. We came out with a sketch pretty early on.
Yeah.
But since then, how have you been creatively active?
Yeah, I mean, when I knew there was going to be that window of COVID when stand-up was going on, that I tried to just get as many of those in as I
Right.
possibly could.
Yeah.
Which I know is kind of reverting back to my same form. you know.
Right.
But other than that, it's just been a lot of writing or just kind of talking to other people about what their plans are going to be and how we can kind of cross and work in together. You know,
Right.
where I think it's important that we all have kind of like our individual little ideas that we're trying to push through.
Exactly.
But then we cross them and switch them.
Bring something to the table
So,
collaboratively.
Yeah, like it was
Right.
fun to do those sketches. I did a sketch with Aaron Cohen about the quarantine. Where we
Right.
pretended to be the runners of the page that was Michiganders Against Quarantine, and how we hated Gretchen Whitmer. I actually think I was wearing this plaid shirt, but I'm not the other character anymore.
But it is part of my everyday
Yeah.
attire. I wasn't.
But they're not
reaching.
gone, man. Those
Yeah.
those motherfuckers are still here.
I still see recall Whitmer signs and people trying to push through her. What's it called when you get them out of office? Not
Oh,
eviction.
to impeach her?
impeachment. Yes.
Yeah.
People calling for impeachment on Facebook.
Yeah, that's an interesting space, Facebook, isn't it?
In it.
So what's been weird for me as a comm major, and this guy gets meta, but it's been fun, is that people have an alternate persona online that
Right.
we obviously know we have. It's kind of like the shiny self we have. It's kind of like who goes to grandma's house.
Yeah.
You know, usually this person doesn't talk about everything they think, you know. And we've had a whole year of people being stuck having to either persist with that persona that they
Right.
have,
Or start to get real.
or start to get real about deviating from it, being like, what the hell are we doing every day talking to each other like
Yeah.
this? Which has just been fun to see the breakout and how people are falling into it. And not that it's really a breakdown, because some people it's been good for,
Right.
and other people it's just been devastating, you know?
And it's beautiful devastation.
Yeah.
I think because it's shown a light into the true self, as too much time on the internet will do.
Exactly. Like some of those people either dove all the way in and they're creating fake personas to get into flat earth groups to argue with them about if the earth is actually flat.
Right.
I don't even know what the hell they're trying to do. Or people learn to whittle.
It's research purposes. I'm not trying to start arguments. I just
Yeah.
want to know what they're thinking.
Yeah.
You know.
We all coped in very different ways. I shot a bow a lot. I didn't even shoot it in a live animal. I was just shooting a bow. It's
You
just-
shot at random targets in the woods.
yeah, and I felt good about myself. It's weird. It's been a weird year, man.
Hell
It's
yeah.
been a weird ass year.
I'm glad. But you were successful hunting. I'm just going
Yeah.
on tangents now. This isn't about your artistry.
I like to hunt too.
Yeah, you were success. Okay, so you come from Everett.
Yeah.
A hunting town. Yes
Yeah,
or
it's
no?
a big hunting town because it's kind of a flat space and what is usually kind of a hilly area. on the
Right, flat
outskirts.
Earth. Got it.
Yeah, flat Earth again. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it is true. Eddie Bravo's a
Home
fan.
to a lot of flat earthers.
No.
Or what's the community like up there?
No, the community of people they are really good. There are a lot of it's obviously more conservative, but most of those guys kind of just do their own thing. It's a lot of outdoorsmen people, a lot of
Right.
people ice fishing,
Oh, yeah.
hunting, that
Sounds
sort of thing.
really white.
It's super white. It's
usually
very
if
white
it's-
town.
Usually, if it's up north and you haven't heard of it,
Yeah.
it's all
It's
white.
like not even embarrassed to be white.
Yeah, they're
Which
just
is
like
so old hat. You know?
they're just
Yeah.
like no, they just don't stay
Yeah,
here.
they just don't talk about it and go fish. Asshole. No, they're not assholes. I love my hometown.
That's
I'm one of
beautiful.
them, really. Yeah.
I got to visit your hometown. Was it the winter when we were there or no?
Yeah, we were there in February.
Oh, geez. So almost a year ago, coming next month. But we did a charity show there, or there was a charity.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
We connected, and this is a shout out too to J. Michael Malone
Hell yeah.
because
Hobo Pie.
He's been running Hobo Pie, which is a pop up comedy show.
Right.
And it's really got a lot of variety and it's really kind of expansive.
Mm-hmm.
But that gives everybody kind of the tools to just organize a group of people for a comedy show.
Right.
And so I paired up with him and then paired with this group in Everett that does the Everett Promise, which matches people who graduate with money for school.
Right.
And we had a crazy night. It was a very long night.
Yeah, it was a long night. A lot of comedians.
We didn't expect it, but we had to take a 45-minute break because they had to go get more beer from the grocery store to bring it back to the hall at the Osceola County Fairgrounds, by the way.
Yes.
Shout out.
We
again.
did. What?
Yeah.
Osceola County. You heard of it?
You heard of
Me
it?
neither.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But probably not.
But anyways, it was a great night. We auctioned off a Mossberg rifle and
in
a
case you
coach
forgot.
purse and I sold Jack Daniels for $80.
In case you
auctioned
forgot
off.
what kind of town this was.
Exactly. I like
Yeah.
to reinforce it.
Yeah.
Coach purse and a Mossberg is a pretty interesting mix.
Yeah, it's a nice combo.
Straight
But
up.
also
Same person would probably wear it and use it at the same
a
time.
previously opened bottle of Jack. These could have all gone to the same person.
Yeah, pretty much. And
Big money spender out there.
Yeah, that was a great night. One of my favorite nights. It was fun
It
to
was
have a
one of
bunch
my
different
favorite
comics.
nights in comedy.
You know, yeah.
Honestly. Because, it was, 12 comedians?
Yep. 12
And
comedians.
Yeah, just a great lineup.
Auctions
of
in the
people,
middle.
too.
People getting progressively more drunk
Yeah, so much so
Riding-
that we
riding
had to
the
make
wave,
a
man.
second alcohol
for
truck.
education. It was genius.
All in the
Really.
name of education.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So
Thank
yeah,
you for
was a
that
good time, man.
opportunity, by the way.
You're
And-
also, as a side note, just to give you some too, is a lot of compliments for you up there. Even still,
Yeah.
I hear people ask about it. and talk about it.
Bullshit.
No, for real. They say it in the
Well,
most
yeah, there
ever
was
way
only-
possible. They go, what was that one black guy, but not the darkest black guy.
I was going to say, I had.
And I said his name's Hunter, and the darkest black guy's name's Devron.
Yes, there was two of them. We have to be sure. But I did get many people coming up to me after the show talking about just how I was kind of black, and I was like, I appreciate it. You learned something.
That joke meant something to me.
it meant something to me and you. and I'm
Yeah,
glad.
it was a great shared time.
But yeah,
Yes,
it
you did
was
great.
Yeah, it was a fun ass performance,
Yeah.
and a great time to meet your family, meet your hometown. But what brought you to Grand Rapids?
Yeah, well, first I I'd always wanted to do stand-up,
Mm-hmm.
but my idea was if I ever even started to do it, I wouldn't do it unless I lived in Grand Rapids or Detroit.
A city.
You know, a city, an
Yeah.
actual place where I could try to do it.
So when you say you always love stand-up, not to cut you
Always-
off,
yeah.
but I have to
Yeah.
tangent here.
Tangent.
Where did you find stand-up?
I was just a Comedy Central nerd,
Oh,
even
Mad
to the
TV
point
type?
of just Comedy Central Presents.
Okay.
Specific.
Yeah.
I liked all of it. I mean, except for Crank Anchors, which I just hated. I couldn't get into it. But,
Same.
But I did like a lot of the other stuff. But mostly Comedy Central Presents is where I got open to. Just it was kind of an open door to
Right.
everybody. That's when I started seeing Mitch Hedberg and even Gabriel Iglesias and Joe
Gabriel-
Rogan was on there.
Gabriel Iglesias was big when he
Yeah.
was like Fluffy and
Yep.
stuff. Or this was like the precursor to
Yeah.
Fluffy.
And old
but-
Pablo Francisco.
Yeah.
like-
Oh my gosh. Who still like not even now has been like a big name.
yeah. But just amazing stand up.
But also I shouldn't say that because even like Gabriel Iglesias right now isn't super popular, but he can still sell out
Yeah.
like an arena.
But that's what the kicker is about stand up that's so cool is during that time getting that 30 minutes on Comedy Central
Exactly.
was the only way outside of going on late night shows.
Right.
Right. And before Comedy Central Presents was just those late night shows.
Yeah.
And it was just like, can I get a seat on Johnny Carson's couch after
Like-
I do a funny enough bit? And now everyone can find their own little group.
Yeah.
Brian Posehn's like just a comic.
Right.
He's like a comic in the sense of he talks about comic books and complete nerd shit.
A
And
comic
he's a
comic, a
comic,
comics
not a
comic.
comics comic.
Right.
He's a comic. It's a double. It's like
Right.
a squared. And he has a whole crowd and he's not a household name in the sense that
Right.
everyone would know him or love him.
Like not a mainstream. I mean
No.
that's what like the alt scene did as
Yeah.
well. And when you can't like get up in clubs or your act doesn't belong in the traditional club scene, you venture elsewhere and you gather a following of people who are willing to venture out of the traditional scene too. And I think that creates more of a connection, but like a deeper following.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like more of a relationship with your fan base.
Well, it's been different when it's social media because you can talk directly with people.
Exactly.
So it just changed the whole game. It's,
Oh yeah.
It's a printing press of being able to make your own stuff.
Right.
Look what we're doing here. It's fantastic.
that.
Look at this guy. Look at what
Look
he
at all
knows.
the
Look at this
people we're
guy. Who'd have
reaching.
thought?
Who'd have not I.
Not you, but I would have. It's a great thought.
So when you're watching Comedy Central Presents, seeing like Mitch Hedberg, who was inspiring you?
Yeah. So I really liked Brian Regan. Like
Nice.
I liked him a lot mostly because he was somebody that I could share with my family, which is kind of funny.
growing
Because
up
he's
in a
super
very
funny.
Christian or
Well,
very Christian household, or
Not necessarily, but I mean a little religious, but more of just that. My mom and dad weren't going to really like anybody who used the F word too much, right?
Yeah.
Now that didn't curtail all my comedy, but it was interesting to see a guy that could make me laugh like somebody who didn't care about swearing.
Right.
He's like one of those unique guys. So I liked watching him a lot. I really like Ron White. And like when
Yeah.
I first started, you have this habit of mimicking. Like when I first started, it was the most important thing in the world for me to memorize my lines so I could hold a drink in my hand and take sips when I tell my jokes.
it's a lot
'Cause it was
more
like-
comfortable too.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like a timing device.
Exactly.
And I love holding a drink usually when I can. If I'm
Alcohol.
if-
Alcoholic.
If I can have a drink on stage, I'll have it.
Yeah. If I could have a drink right now, I would, right?
I know there was just no liquor stores.
alcoholism.
There was no liquor stores on the way here from the highway, so I was out of luck.
Yeah.
No. Now
But no-
I'm like itch. Like looks like I'm itching. Like I'm going through withdrawals. Sorry,
well,
quarantine's been rough, man.
You know how they're going to do it, man. They're going to send you back to the same place.
Yeah, I know. I've been through it, and you know what? Cakewalk.
Exactly.
So Brian Regan's an interesting one, just because him and like Jeff Dunham, looking back now, I don't like it as much. And Brian Regan, just like up until like 6 months ago, was still really funny to me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Some of it all seems
Then And 6 months ago, you hate him now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why.
COVID.
But no, yeah, it's given me a lot of time to think, you know.
And after a long time of sitting alone, washing
alone with
dishes, I
my
looked out the
thoughts.
window and I thought, you know what? Brian Regan sucks.
I watched 30 seconds of his new special. I said, fuck it. He's
This
out
guy
the door to me.
blows, man.
But-
BR? What the hell does that even mean?
But also, I tried to watch a Jeff Dunham special.
yeah.
And you know what? Obviously, these people have specials, so who am I to judge what they're doing? They've obviously made it, and I'm nobody. But I can't stand it anymore.
Yeah.
It's middle school, high school humor to me. And hey, you got a crowd.
Yeah. Jeff Dunham for me was always never my cup of tea.
It got old for me quick.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like Ahmed.
Yeah.
Silence I Kill You, like those shirts were popular for a certain group
Yes.
in high school.
Yep.
And you didn't talk to them
Trump voters.
often. I didn't. Oh no.
Eventually.
Oh well. No.
Oh, no,
No.
not for you.
No. Well, I mean, I'm sure. I grew up in Zealand, so it's major. Anyways, we're venturing. So, Ron White, blue collar comedy
Yeah.
tour. Where you,
I never really was really huge on Jeff Foxworthy or Bill Engvall. Like, I thought they were okay, but I loved Ron White.
I thought you were
Ron
gonna
White
say,
is so
but I
smooth.
loved Larry the Cable
Yeah,
Guy.
Larry Cable. Larry the
Inspirational.
Cable Guy, though, he changed my life. It was like, wear plaid shirts, lie, create a character that's not real.
That one actually. Okay, now that I've like learned things like that, and the intelligence behind, I can't remember his name.
It
for the
doesn't
life of
matter.
me.
He sold his soul to the
Exact-
devil
But you know,
for that.
it's smart.
Yeah.
You can go home and be whatever you want, but you created. Okay, I mean it's smart, but it's not to me something I'd like to replicate.
What he did is he had a persona that overgrew
Yeah,
the person, which happens. Andrew Dice Clay
right.
happened the
well,
same way.
I
Where
think
Andrew
he
Dice
is
Clay
now-
has now, dude, the guy still wears the gloves and
Yeah,
it's insane.
I think
man.
he is Dice.
he is.
now.
Yes. Well, and he had that, like, in the 90s, he had that huge emotional fall apart about whatever. He was crying on stage saying he's the real deal or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What that is these guys get that character, but then the character just becomes what people expect, so then that's
Right.
just what they are.
And then
It's an interesting thing.
and then you go through the like imposter syndrome because you created it, and
Yeah, it's your baby. Yep.
rough.
And that's
I could only wish for those problems.
how you get all those fish hooks and hats and terrible problems with cut off plaid shirts.
You know, what? I'd take it. I'd take Larry the Cable Guy's success. I don't know.
I'd
about
take
you.
the money.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
not the responsibility that comes with it.
The weird irony would have to be being honest with the guys that are just regularly that country that do the blue collar comedy tour.
Right.
And being like, I still love you guys though,
still
but this
love
is a whole shtick on like who you are as a people.
Yeah. And you know what?
Yeah. And
It doesn't come out great.
and I know it probably hurts your feelings to have the whole crowd stand up and cheer wildly for their
me.
own demise.
Yeah.
But hey, man,
the
it's
success-
America. We're allowed to do what we want.
Do you think anything has changed? I don't know if this information just to me is like new information that it's a character in a shtick, but do you think it's lost on the target crowd?
Yeah. I think the target crowd thinks he's a hamming up of himself, but that's
Rather, it's
But that's
a
for them
mirror
to
the-
figure out. Just like
Aren't we
little kids
called-
find out if Santa's real or not. It's you don't tell them. They have to find out on their own or at the right time when their parents choose it's the right time to
Right.
tell them. That's how I feel about
the day a Confederate found out Larry the Cable Guy.
I think when
was
it's
fake.
the 32nd birthday of most people that are his fans is the right
Yeah.
time to tell them when they're emotionally developed enough.
You're old enough now.
You're old enough now for us to tell you the truth that Larry's
Meanwhile, there's
not
people
real.
in their 60s that still cannot take it.
Exactly.
It's actually up for judgment.
But
Um,
at the same time, though, those guys were pretty good. I mean, I liked Ron White a lot, and watching him was really fun. And I was just really kind of a movie kid when I was little, so
Right.
I really liked Chris Farley a lot with Tommy Boy, Black
Yeah.
Sheep, Beverly Hills Ninja.
Yeah.
Pretty much
David-
classic
love
white
David
kid,
Spade.
and yeah,
personally, I was just shoot. I was just watching just like a small clip with him. He was on Tiger Belly, and it was just a clip from that. But I miss like just his voice in comedies.
Yeah.
Just because I think he's a great comedic actor, and any Jew. But
He's good. Yeah.
Tommy, you seem like a Chris Farley fan.
Yeah, I'm a big Farley fan. I liked him. I'm a big SNL fan.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked that. I even like guys like Bob Odenkirk just for being writers of it, like the old hat fellas. You know.
So you seem to get. I know you're a history buff. You're very politically savvy, and you know a lot about like movies and shows, writers, producers, things like that. You seem to see things that you like or love and take a deep interest into it. What is that driving force for like information? Or that,
yeah, I get it. No.
That driving yearning.
Funny, the real truth of it is that I just think this is the nerdiest thing about me, but I like to, even on my own, learn. Like I dig it as a fun enterprise of being bored and having nothing to do, and being like, well, why don't I find out about the Roman Pilum and why that was so effective? What the hell is that? You know, and then just would read about it and go crazy on Wikipedia, and a lot of it too. Some of it marijuana infused. That always helps you get that extra level of deepness into not something that doesn't mean shit. But wasn't really politically motivated at all until I got onto a radio station running the soundboard here in Grand Rapids. And I was always kind of just work related with politics in the sense of like not getting too crazy, but like I thought a lot of places should unionize if they were getting paid too low and that sort of stuff. So I did a radio show with that, and then because that was so current events based, it forced me into a world of learning where, in a funny way, I thought about it just like before I got into politics, I was huge into all sports, and I could name the starting lineups for any NBA team, all, that sort of thing. And
once again, super fan.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, like, I didn't learn how to do that by trying to learn it all in a day. It was more of just being exposed to watching it over time. Yeah. And I thought with politics, whatever they're doing there's nobody there that's so smart that people can't just figure out what the hell's going on.
Right.
And so just over time of watching it, it just becomes real obvious about who the players are and who's doing what and how the system works,
Right.
So it was a learning
like sports,
experience.
Then.
In a lot of ways.
You took to politics like sports.
Yeah. Like sports. Yeah. I like sports the same way.
Who are my favorite teams, my favorite players? Let's see some stats.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For me?
No, I'm kidding.
Steve Kerr, greatness.
No. In the political realm.
No, political people?
I'm saying Steve Kerr is greatness in the political realm.
Yeah, he's a politically great guy.
He's a political giant.
He wears the right shirts. When it's time to wear a shirt that says something, he wears the right one.
Yes, he knows when to.
He knows when to wear a shirt, a good shirt. That's Steve Kerr.
Great coach.
Yeah. But no, politically though, I'm not nearly as involved in it as I used to be. We used to do a lot of. I got on.
It's not your job.
I did a radio show where we would interview people, and it was. We had Gretchen Whitmer on multiple times.
Was this
when
before?
She was a senator?
Yeah.
She'd come to the studio. It was cool, and she's a down to earth gal.
Yeah, she hot.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I just wanted
our Foxy Governor. That's a shout out to James Couture, but great line, Foxy Governor. Yeah, no, but she's amazing, and it was a good time, but it also it's not really who I was as somebody. Like I got into comedy right at the tail end of that, so I had this idea of merging those two worlds. But the truth is, I'm not really as I like to know what's going on, but I don't think it's important that everyone has to find out what the hell people are doing all the time in politics anymore.
Or have to have your opinion about it.
Nah.
Because I think that's a big thing that's, I think, taken over way too much.
For sure.
But, I mean, everyone has an opinion, and we're all... That's what I'm doing right now. We're all sharing.
Yeah.
So take advantage of it, but political opinions, when mixed with the news, obviously we've seen the demise of that. So you came to Grand Rapids I completely cut you off because you had always wanted to do stand up and you
Yeah.
wanted to move to a city to do stand up.
Yeah.
But you came to Grand Rapids. Was it for college?
It was.
Or?
It was actually. I graduated from school in Saginaw.
Okay. Oh,
but-
Saginaw Valley.
Saginaw Valley. Yeah, go Cards, baby. And then moved into the belly of the beast at GVSU. No, but I came over from Saginaw, and it was for a job. It was
Right.
just kind of a regular job, working in healthcare stuff.
Were you going to grad school or no?
No, I just,
Okay.
in my mind, I just needed to get C's in college, and then I'd get a degree, and then the capitalism gods would hand me $100,000 in a car, and I would eventually find a wife that would half love me but couldn't leave because of my immaculate wealth, and none of that happened.
And I have a degree.
So, but I do have the degree. I have a degree in communications from Saginaw Valley State University. Go Cards.
I got a degree in communications, and I thought this whole world would open
I
up.
thought, and that's when they're gonna give me the keys of the city.
That's when I
Yeah.
made it.
Yeah.
I'm
So it was it was a learning experience.
Yeah.
But no, I when I got to Grand Rapids, I mostly was just kind of trying to get settled and get started.
Mm-hmm.
But I fell into the political stuff and started doing that in radio and focused on that for quite a while.
Right.
And then the minute I started really trying at comedy, it just became evident which one I really cared about.
Right.
Because when I was younger, it was way more important that people would have fun, or I'd want to have fun with them when we
Yeah.
were hanging out, and more
Everyone
than
have
trying to
a
tell
good
people
time.
about stimulus checks or some bullshit.
I mean,
know?
when we were younger, as a child, what do you know about
Nothing,
politics?
nothing.
Exactly. And you don't really have any hard opinions. You're trying to get across to people.
Yeah.
So-
Or you believe you have a lot of strong opinions, but you haven't read enough philosophy.
Yeah, you don't.
So
you don't really have
know
any
what
weight
the hell you're
behind
saying.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I had to catch up the other way. I decided to say a lot of stuff first and then learn I was wrong later.
it's,
It offers humility.
right. Speak first, apologize later.
Sure.
Act first. I need you. So, when you first started comedy in 2015, where did you first go up?
I first went up at Sunday Night Funnies
Oh yes.
at Brian Borbett's spot, man, and it
Yep.
was down at the Riverfront Hotel.
Oh, that was
which
a while ago.
Was an old spot that was just amazing, and that spot had a GR vibe that was great because there was a table in the back.
right.
When you walked into that building, if you walked through the doorway, like where the bouncer was, you'd go through, and the stage would be up front, and the bar is right to your left, and there's kind of like a U-shaped place.
Mm-hmm.
And all the main comics, or the guys that were known well enough, could walk the other way from the bouncer behind in this like little dining room and
Yeah.
go to the back end of the U and sit at this table. And that was where all the like established guys were
Right.
hanging and sitting.
The
And
scene.
I remember the guy that brought me in, and I won't throw his name just because of the the inward, inside ball we're
Right.
playing. But he'd come in there and he'd be like,
Doesn't matter.
when you get good enough, you'll be able to go hang at that table.
And then
And
how long
I remember
did it
just-
even?
I was amazed.
How long after that did it even leave the Riverfront Hotel?
It was still like a year or two.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he stayed there for a while. And then it was like Holly Hotel in 2008 or 2015 or 16, then
Mm-hmm.
Spectrum.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that was a great little spot. But it was also a funny intro into GR, just
Yeah.
because there was like this place, a physical representation of like these are the people.
Yeah. And once you make
Yeah.
it
It was-
here,
Yeah,
you're
you're there,
make it-
kid. And
Right.
when in my mind it was like, all right, I get to that table,
It's a goal.
and then I go to Second City, and then Chris Farley's brother asked me to be in some movie, and then I'm ready, man.
Yep.
I'm
So
I'm
a
going.
movie about Chris
Yeah.
Farley's life.
If the whole idea about getting $100,000 from my C degrees in communication
Right.
didn't work out, I'll just have Chris Farley's brother come hit me
This
up.
is my backup plan.
So yeah,
Nothing
I'm looking
can
at
go
you,
wrong.
Bubs, waiting on the call.
So a rude awakening, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But how, like your intro into the comedy scene, we've seen that. But what have you learned in your 5 years, on and off, from not so much the GR politics of the comedy scene, but I guess how to operate in the comedies, because I think you're further along in your comedy career than I am. I don't know why I did lackadaisical air quotes around that. I quote my career.
Yeah, you've got one.
But no, that's why there's the quotes.
Yeah,
but you
have
don't.
one.
I mean, but you do. So there's no quotes. I need you. Once
Thank
again, we'll throw an.
I know you're attempting to compliment me somehow
Yes,
here.
we'll throw a caption up here that says this is a product of marijuana.
Sure.
As we will with my last rant about marijuana. I need you. But like I said, what have you learned from the Grand Rapids comedy scene in how to be a comedian, I guess?
Yeah. Well, this is an easy question to answer. No. No, the biggest thing I learned in terms of like how to move along and through it is that I think the most important thing for anybody to think about is not getting involved in what is so much of just kind of the goings in and out of the day to day,
Right.
or how good or bad someone is on a given night.
Yeah.
During their open mics, like that information will go a long way in knowing who's actually developing or not.
Right.
And not that that's the most important thing, but when you move through it, you
Yeah.
don't get tied up in getting in some fight with somebody that gets you out of having stage time somewhere. Try to
Right.
get on stage as much as you can
And we've
to
seen
get funny.
we've seen the drama that
Yeah.
gets you banned from a show
Sure.
or
Yeah.
just on thin ice with people where you don't want to ask for time.
And I get it too, where there's things that happen. I'm not trying to say that anybody's wrong about the stuff, but there's a way to try to get on there where the focus is, I need to get better at stand up, so I have to get on stage. I need people
Exactly.
to want to give me time.
Right.
And you can do that in a lot of different ways. But that mixed with the other one of open mics are a place to create and to try new things.
Exactly.
And showcases and upward are places to establish the things that you know work and play little,
Right.
and not say, and there's no rules to it for everybody. But I do think the way to move around is really to be trying at the open mics to play with new things.
Exactly. Knowing the time and place.
Yeah.
It's always not necessarily reading the room, but knowing where your playground is, where
Yeah.
your gym is. I mean, and they can be basically the same thing. It
For sure.
just depends on your attitude of like what you're bringing to the table. Or if you got some things you want to work on, but you kind of want to just play around
Yeah.
with the crowd in general. It's
And I think there's so many different ways to do it, and there's so many people that do it well. And there's a lot of people in Grand Rapids that are good comedians.
yeah.
That rock. They are very good.
And that's why it's been so great coming up in this scene, like just starting comedy in this scene, because it's there. I mean, there's a lot of people to look up to.
Yeah.
I think comedically.
And I think that there's a lot of people that are good, and there's a lot of people that have some interesting things to show you. But we're all doing it because there's something inherent about what we were doing before.
Right.
That made it so we understood what we're trying to do there in the first place, right? So it's always about kind of going back to that with me is after a while of I can get influenced by what I'm watching a lot. And not that it's not an emulation so much as like, wow, look at how these mannerisms worked. What if I moved a little faster or I pushed my pace or slowed it down?
Yeah.
And I think it's fun to play with those things. But at the end of the day, you really know what you were like to make it work.
Exactly.
And you meet somewhere in the middle there. Over time,
between an inspiration and the meat, the true self, you can find something achievable in between.
And I think the other thing too is that having those rough nights, which we all have, and we know exactly what those are like. Those are part of doing the game. It's just the same thing as if you wanted to learn how to play a sport, you're going to get beat first by people that know how to play when they're showing you.
Yeah.
And you're trying to learn how to do something, so you're going to expect these bumps, and then you have to work them out. And they still randomly happen, man. Bad nights, bad shooting night. You know what I mean? It's like that. That's life.
Just nothing's falling for me, man.
And I always take to Patrice O'Neal's advice on that too. Is if you're failing in a room, the worst thing you can do is try to win them back. You just go right at them. Go right at them. You didn't need them
their
either.
fault.
No. And if you tell them what they ought to do, if they don't like it, is leave. The funny thing is, They don't. They sit right down.
They
and
won't.
stay
They
with
won't leave.
A la Bill Burr's Philly rant. Right?
Yeah, I was gonna
It's
say
10 minutes of him just yelling at them about how they're bad hoagie eaters and
right.
Philly cheese eating bastards, and they loved it.
I loved how completely cussed to shit, and they uproarious laughter
Yeah,
because they paid for a fucking show.
yeah, and it's greatness.
Yeah.
But I think. I don't know, man. Comedy has been a lot of fun, and I think the community in Grand Rapids is one that like it funnels back and works if you work with it
Yeah,
and you play with it.
definitely.
And
I mean,
we can do it
that's-
a lot of different ways.
I mean that's life. You get out of it what you put into it, and it's true in relationships, and I think in any profession, the networking.
Yeah.
If you're hanging around, just even the hang. Most of comedy, I think people that know about comedy scenes, over half of it is just in the hang. And I mean, that's where most of the work, I think, in networking and like writing and things come in. And I think that's where a lot of the joy from doing comedy comes. It's all just in the hang with the comedians.
That day, then when we get done with shows and everyone's kind of hanging out at the end,
Right.
and everybody riffs off each other, and you get these random conversations that pop up.
Exactly.
It's a great time.
Right.
It's good stuff. But yeah, I love stand up mostly because there's a part of me that's a narcissist that requires a certain amount of validation
Oh,
from
definitely.
strangers. So
That's
I
all
just
of
take
us.
that as it is.
Right.
And I'm okay
I have
with that part of it.
cameras and a light
Yeah.
set up here.
And I'm okay with that. And I'm okay. I already, before stand up, had the opinion through politics that people cared what I thought before they
Right.
did. So there's this perfect blend
Exactly.
of somebody who's ready to talk. On a
Where does that
microphone.
narcissism come from? Because I had that thought. No, about myself too.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, man.
I mean,
It's
you're
a
not.
universal
This
thought.
isn't accusatory.
I
but-
wasn't. I was just laughing at the general idea that we're accepting it for the both of us.
Yeah. Well, no, I had literally this exact thought to yesterday. I was like, why do I feel like people need to know what I think?
Yeah.
Because I criticize it in other people, like on the internet when they have stupid opinions. But then I'm like, I go on camera every week in a microphone and put what I think people should hear out into the world. And I mean, I have no real qualifications or or shit to know. Shit. I don't give a. What was the right one?
Give me what I need.
There you go. That's right.
But I need that validation.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
I need that.
Give me what I need.
I don't know why I need that validation, but that's very true. Is it something that we missed growing up? That was my quote unquote exact thought that I was trying to allude
Well,
to.
I'm no Freudian or no psychologist, so I don't know. I think you're in love with your mom.
as far as my psychological knowledge, you love your mother.
If I ring a bell, does your mouth get wet? Like I don't know. Is that psychology?
I think that means you're thinking about your mom.
Yeah. That Freud was right about that.
Yeah, if your mouth gets wet,
You think about your mom.
at the sight of a tit.
No, I don't think there's a mention of tits. Just if
Sorry.
your mouth gets wet, it's because you're thinking of your mom.
Yeah, I was.
I
bringing
haven't
my
read
own
the
thing
books,
into it.
obviously. This is circling back around to people talking about things they don't know.
Exactly.
But no, I think for all of us, it's different things. One is for me, and I know that I have a family that is just I have a funny family.
Right.
Everybody in my family is, and not in a like hokey prankster way, but just everyone has these
witty
abilities to be witty and funny, or storytelling is just kind of common amongst our family. And for me, honestly, I think that started when I was a kid at the table, because I'm the youngest, and I'm the youngest of 4 kids. There's 4 of us, and I'm the youngest and only boy. So I had a lot of things about having to say that I just didn't think about it the same way.
Right.
Because that was happening all the time.
Because I have the differing opinion.
Yeah. But I think more of where it comes from is that we're in a place now where people naturally are pretty narcissistic without assuming it.
Yeah.
And so it just plays into our ability that we have a camera on our phone every day, and we believe that what we're saying is valuable enough for everyone to hear it.
Yeah, just because I have the ability.
And that doesn't extend to that extends way past comedians.
Oh, yes.
That's
no.
just anybody.
That that extends to people who really don't have valuable opinions at all, and those people exist.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
I could very much well be that person.
It's an interesting thing going on right now, which is this will be my really unfunny book I'm going to write that will make me a lot of money.
Jeez.
Yeah, get ready. No. But the way the internet works with how people have access to it now is kind of like the printing press of back in the day.
Right.
Where the information is going so much faster than anybody being able to curtail it or slow it down.
Right.
So for me, it's more about you have access to everything. So how do you make yourself be a better bullshit detector?
Yeah.
How are you better at knowing what's good, bad, right, wrong, and how are you deciphering it?
Right.
And learning how people build up these information silos where, like, you Google something, I Google something. We can Google the same thing. We're getting we aren't getting the same results.
Yeah.
Based on how it's reading us, and we know that.
Right.
So that's changed for how people interact with each other. Mm-hmm. So now if I write you, I'm not just writing to you. I have followers that are on my page that I'm thinking are going to look at what I wrote, and I'm writing to them while I write to you.
Yeah.
So in a way, I'm not talking to Hunter. I'm talking to my group of people that already agree with me to you.
Right, and
you
what
know?
You want them to think about this interaction.
So it's a lot of writing back and forth on message boards from people.
Right.
That's a lot of
ulterior motive. Yeah.
Yeah. What are the people that follow me going to comment like when I write this to them? And that is built from another spot of like, what do people think I think?
Yeah. And that's whether that be narcissism or I think it's both, but an insecurity as well. But anyways, this has been The Social Dilemma.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
With Joe and Hunter.
But I love the internet, man. We couldn't see memes without it, man. Look at all these chickens and shit. You know?
Could look at all these chickens. I posted that caption showing ducks at. Or no, I think I did the opposite thing. Jew.
But it was funny.
Yes, it was Snapchat, and it was funny for like a day.
Yeah.
To me, other people were like, "Those are chickens," and I'm like,
yes.
"Idiot."
Yes.
But
the internet.
What are you? No, fuck the internet. No, I'm just kidding. That's the only way we've been able to operate with COVID restrictions and things like that, and what we're doing now. But I wanted to ask you I got two questions. What do you want to come out of this COVID break, whatever it ends? What do you want to come out of it with? Whether it's online material, like we were saying, the internet. We did
putting things up on the nets,
right? See if it sticks. Just like personal goals of establishing more of a following, or we'll go with that. That's the first question. What do you want to come out of this COVID break? We'll call it that. It's a COVID break.
Yeah. Well, for me, I did a lot of goal setting when I got started on it at the very start, where I was like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I had this belief that if I just had time, I would do it.
Right.
And then I learned that I, like most people,
you're stepping on something I already
have found out that that's not actually the thing that keeps us from doing things.
I've been working on a bit with fuck you.
You take whatever it is, you take it. I'm not going to run with it. But that's my real thinking on it has been kind of that right. We have there's something else that stops people from achieving what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And all I'm coming out of it with is recognizing that that's real, and I got to fight that thing every day.
Right.
You know.
I'm not really working on a bit. It was just something that I wrote down. Like, I was trying to write jokes. It was more of an observation that anyone can make, as you did. But just like I spent like 2.5 weeks just alone with my girlfriend.
That's alone,
house,
right?
Like, yeah, alone to the outside world. So we had, and there's, jeez, I can keep burping, but with a ton of shit to do around the house and all the time in the world to do it, you learn two things: that there's always more shit to do, and it takes more than time to actually do them. Like, you need motivation and things like that. And
and you got to have it all the time.
I got
right?
none of it.
Yeah.
I got none of it. It's hard.
I think that lesson is the biggest one for me out of all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the other one is like we were talking before, like people gotta get some hobbies. They gotta find
Right.
out how to occupy their time,
Yeah.
and sometimes that's best served by not feeding that online monster.
Yeah, which is, I think that's the biggest thing I've also learned. I was gonna say I don't know why, but that's the biggest thing I've personally learned is how detrimental it is to me. And I know this isn't a shock. Like, everyone knows that it's not great to be on your phone all the time or on
Yeah.
social media all the time.
But it does give you a shot of dopamine.
Exactly, it does bless us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's how you use it. You know,
Right.
I'm not someone who swears off of it or anything. I just think that it's the same as it could be anything. It could be video games. It could be eating cheeseburgers. Whatever the
Right.
thing is that's taking up
Right.
too much of your life.
Yeah, too
You
much
know.
of your life, too much of your money, too much of your food,
Yeah.
too much of life-giving sources.
Yeah.
Right.
But I also think too that it was a good time to just learn to honestly give more people a break for a little while. Like just
Right.
care less about how other people are doing other things for a little bit. It was a lot easier to do this
It
year than
seems
other
like-
years, but
It was just a great time to care less about people.
not care less about people, but care less about the goings on. You know,
Right.
just trying to get it. You realize after, like, when the rat race slowed down and you're not going to work every day, so you don't learn about what, like, Carol doesn't wash the spoons down at, you know, in the front of the house is always bitches or whatever.
Right.
All that stuff is just, it's so, you end up missing it.
Bitch!
Yeah, exactly. That's how I called out at people from the line when I was working as a line cook. And say, "Your food's ready, bitch." You know, they loved it. Shout out to Fulton Street Pub. No, they fired me.
No, they fired me because I would always
I didn't yell.
"Hey,
I didn't yell bitch at the customers. I was just an inadequate employee.
It had nothing to do with my overall attitude. It was
Nah,
just my
I had a great
performance.
attitude. I just wasn't a good worker. Yeah.
You know that, and you know what's sad? I think I've been fired before for just my performance, and that's really just that's the biggest slap in the face personally, because you're like, you had a great attitude, but geez,
Yeah.
your work was shit.
Well,
We thank you for the smile on your face.
I
while you-
treated a joke job like a joke.
Exactly.
And that was my fault.
Exactly, and I
Because we live in America, you have to pretend
Turns out-
you have to pretend like joke jobs are serious
right.
here.
You have to pretend that you need them because
Exactly. And I
They-
was like,
they
no,
pay you.
you pay me $11 as a reason for me to treat you like you're my master.
right. But then jokes on me.
Yeah. So again, good place. Yeah, good
great,
eats.
Great place.
I'll be doing stand up there soon.
Hopefully.
I don't know. We'll
Turn
see.
it up. All right, so that was the first question. So you want to come out of COVID with a renewed mindset for motivation, and it was a great time to get out of the rat race.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Good
Sec-
time for mushrooms.
Yeah,
you know,
hell yeah,
lots of
dude. So
mushrooms.
many trips
Got to.
were experienced, not
Have some
just
eat-
not from me, but
Yeah.
like from this scene.
Yeah.
Because we met. I know we tripped together, and
We did.
I know how many comedians did you trip with over?
In undisclosed
Over this
amount.
break,
No,
yeah.
I'd have to add it all up. But
Yeah.
There's been a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
Where people
There's been a lot of down up time.
up down time where
Yeah.
people have made efforts to find themselves, and
Yeah.
I'm glad for that. But with the effort of finding yourself, what have you found to be your overall goal in comedy, and or in what you do as an artist,
Yeah.
as a thinker, as a creator?
Ooh, man, these are some deep ass questions, huh?
I do what I can.
No. I don't know, man. Honestly, for me, it's just been having some documented proof that people have laughed at me before is kind of important for when I get
Yeah.
older.
Definitely.
And yeah, again, it's a narcissistic one. No,
Yeah.
but I think if there's something about trying to get good at something and then showcase how good you could be. And
Right.
my plan is honestly to go as far as I can with it, even in terms of being here, doing as much as I can in Grand Rapids, but trying
Right.
to go in other places. And,
Exactly.
And really try it out, you know, and
Yeah.
see what can happen.
Try it out.
Just give it a whirl, you know.
Hell yeah, dude.
But I realize too that seems a little half-hearted, but really that's what what it's about is going like, I don't think that I'm ever going to stop doing it. I
Right.
can't see how I'm going to stop doing it. I've never had a feeling ever going to a show that I didn't want to go and I
Right.
didn't want to do it.
That-
And I never felt like I wasn't. I've had times where I felt like I wasn't ready to do stand up that day, but I've never felt like I didn't want to go do it.
Right.
And I know I don't. I've been doing it for 5 years. I feel not 1 inch of that going away.
Right.
It just is more,
Yeah.
So for me, it's just going and trying to get as far as I can in terms of
Exactly.
getting on some big city stages, trying to have, some proof of me being actually funny somewhere.
Right. See where it'll take you.
Yeah.
If you're interested, tomorrow's the last day to apply for it, I believe. But there's a virtual comedy festival I saw. Not my cup of tea. But
Yeah.
if you're trying to see where,
Yeah, I might try to go to
can
the real
go.
place later on. I'll
Yeah.
just wait it out.
dude, I think that's my next goal is to get into a comedy festival sometime in the near
Yeah.
future. I don't know what near future is, but I know we had these goals of trying to travel out of state for even just some open mics and stuff, and then COVID hit, and some of us still got to go out to did you go to Indiana at all?
Yeah, I went to South Bend and did a show.
South Bend?
Yeah,
Yep. And
that
I
was
went
fun.
I went to Fort Wayne, and I went somewhere in Ohio as well. I got to venture out, and I didn't think it was super awesome that we actually got to achieve those goals of getting out of state to
Yeah.
do some shows and stuff. Didn't think it would come because our state was shut down, that we had to venture out. At least that was me personally, but
Yeah, but it's good to get out there, man, and try it. New crowds are always a blast, and
Right.
everything's different all the time. So that's why it's also fun too. Is it's really never the same.
exactly.
Even if you had the same set list, you're trying the same jokes 3 nights in a row,
Right.
somewhere. The same. Say you try to do the same exact 15 minutes 3 nights in a row, you'd still end up having a couple that are just completely crazy.
right.
There's been interesting
different
things.
reactions to every time, obviously.
The places can be crazy, but they're fun.
Hell
And
yeah.
And it can get wild. And speaking of losing stage time, I almost got thrown out in Flint because I tried to touch the bar cat. Which there's a cat there that runs around the bar
Don't fucking touch
all
it.
willy nilly, and someone told me to pick it up to move him into another room, and then another lady was very offended that I tried to touch the bar cat, and told me
It's an
specifically
unspoken rule, but
that cat had more of a right to be there than I did. So
Well,
this
duh.
is Flint, which is right. 'Cause that cat didn't even drink their water or nothing. They gave it just bottled water. They love the
You
cat
get-
more than themselves.
this cat gets Ice Mountain. I don't give a shit what you
It's an
drink.
Ice Mountain drinking cat.
But-
Yeah. But it's weird times, man.
Right. But with that being said, we got to achieve some of the goals that some of us had set out, even with the shitty year that we had. What are some of your career goals, comedy goals for 2021?
Yeah. I want to get on stage. I want to hit Detroit more this year. If
Hell yeah, east side of
if
the
it
state.
happens,
Right.
I'm not trying to push anything past what the restrictions are. 'cause
Yeah.
I love you, Gretchen.
Right. But when we're open, yeah,
But yeah,
so probably
when we
maybe
are
this
open,
summer.
I would
but-
really like to. I'd like to hit up Detroit more and get over there and just kind of mix in with that crew, and that'll be the start. But there's some places in Chicago I want to try to do.
Right.
This year, if I can, once we get lifted, I want to try to have the setup to go driving around,
Right.
and maybe we'll go running around,
Maybe go
buddy.
do a little open mic tour.
Do a little touring.
Yeah.
Do a little look-seeing.
Hell yeah.
See what the fields of Nebraska look like, dude.
Ooh.
They're flat. They look just like ours.
Oh.
But
That's depressing.
yeah.
Lincoln. All right.
Cool corn.
Anyways, Joe, thank you so much for coming in. On Instagram and on Twitter at Joe Elder Comedy.
That's
correct?
it. Yeah.
Awesome. So that's Joe. Okay. Are the E's consecutive? Because
Yeah, there's 2 E's
Okay.
in there. There's the E that's the
technically
last
there's
one of my
3
name,
E's.
and then there's the E that's the start of my other name. My last name. It's just Joe Elder. Joe
Okay, yeah, I made that way more. I made that
It's
way more
supposed to be
complicated.
easy.
Yeah, Joe Elder
I can't do
Comedy
it.
on Twitter and Instagram, and you can follow the podcast on Twitter at Where Is This GoPo. Right there, boom. And you can also follow me. I have a new Twitter handle. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at _Hunter Miles. And you can follow the podcast on Instagram at Where Is This Going Pod. And thank you guys so much. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. And we are now on iHeartRadio, something that beautifully happened to us over the quarantine of this show. So follow us on iHeartRadio if you have that app. And yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you, Joe, for coming in.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Have a beautiful day. Thank you.